of how economies have evolved ever since, centuries. About, for example, debt. About how credit brings debt. You know, credit and debt are two separate things. Credit comes first, and then debt, and then default, and then a crisis, and then a rebirth. In the world, it is always exactly like that. Even the markets which you operate in, and in the markets, I don't mean stock markets alone. Markets, I mean anywhere you go to invest. Those are the markets. Real estate is a market. Stock market is a market. Boats is a market. I mean, across. Markets are strikingly cyclical. What I mean, predictable. So, for example, we had a financial crisis in 2007, 2008. Anyone who does, actuaries who are here, also economists, you can always predict by looking at the parameters when we are likely to have another financial crisis. The stock market in Kenya, the way it is now, you can always predict it's now bullish. It is likely to be bullish maybe up to end of 2026. But you can almost predict that by the first quarter of next year, it will not be bullish. Because there are parameters you can attach and you get the answer pale mwisho. You know the way you mix uga ya chapati, mafuta, na maji, unafanya hivi maneno, hivi, chapati inakuwa. There is a sequence, but there are also ingredients. Even in economics, how the economies behave. If you put in ingredients in your formula, you can always tell where you are headed. What am I trying to say? Those things you call assured, they are not assured. And I want to tell you here, and I'm not trying to instill fear onto anyone. Do you sit down in your office and ask yourself, you've been investing in government boards, and you are now investing more than any other time, because Kenya is borrowing more than any other time in history. Even in your books, you see in terms of quantum, you are buying more boats than you are buying before. You are buying government instruments in terms of amount than there was before. There was more on offer than, there is more on offer now than has ever been. Do you sit down to ask yourself, hiki tu ni nini munafanyaga? In terms of, okay, we call it investing. Do you think buying T-bills and bonds is investing? It is lending to government. So it is a debt. Government is taking credit, so it is accumulating debt. So in your mind, do you think that sequence is eternal? That has no end. Can you, when you go back to the office, can you just go and check your figures correctly, and then you tell me, is it possible for an economy to continue borrowing more than it borrowed yesterday, and it doesn't have a reset? It will not be possible. I can guarantee you that. Now, if you are spending half of our revenues as a country to pay the interest rates, you know the money now you call profit when you invest in government instruments. That is also an expense on the other side of government called interest rate payment. So you want to tell me, now we are spending half of all the revenues Kenya is collecting to pay interest rates, and we all here now in Mombasa as professionals to think we can do that for the next 5 years without a reset. It will not happen. It will not happen, I can guarantee you. That we can grow the economy at 4.9%, but also grow our debt at a higher percentage, and therefore pay interest rate higher than we have ever paid, and there is no reset. If you just check the sequence of economies, that will not be sustainable. What am I trying to tell you? Keep investing there, in terms of quote investing, but there will be a reset at some point. There is a time Ghana, we are not talking about centuries ago, we are talking about 2 years ago, Ghana. The government called people, I'm using figurative language, they call people in a hall like this, the way we have come. Oh, I want to meet all the banks. I want to meet all the insurance companies. They came, the MDs. I also want to meet pensioners. Not even the people who manage their money, even them, their representatives. Do you know what the government said? Everyone is taking a haircut of 30% of the principal amount. I'm not saying about a barber shop, haircut. A financial haircut. So where do you go? Oh, naenda kotini. Okay, you go to the court, you give an, whatever orders. Go and auction government. Okay, so utagoja GK vehicle uchukue ama utafanya nini? So these things I'm talking about is both the macro, but also talking to you who are here. This tendency, we can revisit it sometime later. Because if we don't slow down, we'll definitely, as today is Wednesday, Thursday. As today is Thursday, we'll have a reset. So there's nothing assured. When there is a reset, for example, in government instruments, do you know what that means? It means the banks also have a reset. Because even most of the assets are also in government instruments. So how do you invest your money? There is some money you have fixed as you wait to see what to do with it. There is some other money in the government instruments. Of course, there is a small segment in stocks. There is another one in properties. Na ingekuwa si regulator ya property hata ndiyo ingekuwa juu zaidi. You guys would be owning all the land in Kenya. Maybe kama sio regulator kukaza kidogo. So, when there is a reset in government instruments, it hits you direct. But it also hits you indirect with the money in the bank. Because the sequence continues. Also the bank comes and tells you, I know you deposited this money here, but simesikia vile kumesemekana, I also owe you this much. The sequence, that's how it goes. And I am hoping Kenya will not reach there. Unfortunately, if we become more excited because there is a lot of domestic money, there is so much domestic money now that people are paying more in NSSF and all the other funds. So there is so much money in domestic market. And therefore, inatusubua kupea government haraka haraka. You are not giving, you are neither investing, you are actually lending. And you are not lending to somebody who is going to invest. You are lending to somebody who is spending. If the government of Kenya does not borrow money, go to the market for 2 months, can it operate? I can actually challenge the government. For us to know our economy is stable, they don't go to the markets for 2 months only, or 3. To ask for T-bills or both. Then we see whether they'll pay salaries. Not build roads, paying salaries. Because if you collect money, half is going to you as profits in terms of interest. The other half is not even enough to pay salaries. So what I'm trying to say is that as you do your math in the office, there is nothing certain. What has been certain has been proven not to be certain in perpetuity. The second thing, I had two important things, that one and this other one. The other ones I don't think they are too important. I'm still on innovation. The companies you admire here in this hall at a personal individual level. Berkshire Hathaway, Bridgewater, BlackRock, Blackstone. I'm talking about the biggest companies in the world that manage money. Where do they get most of their profits? Take Berkshire Hathaway. Because it's a model I would really beseech all of us to think how we can model our money around there. We invest money in stocks, but we all invest money in stocks here passively. How can you be having billions of dollars in AUM and you are buying shares passively? I wonder. I wonder if a normal Kenyan, a retail investor buys 2 million shares, 100 shares, 10,000 shares in KCB, and you have billions of money buying KCB shares as a passive investor, do you think that is too wise? Then what is the leverage you have in having so much money? It means you are not using your money as a muscle when you are investing. I challenge us. Our capital market now and our markets have opportunities that are so glaring. But the people with the money must unlock that money to stop being passive investors. I think you are investing for dividends. Dividends is for us as individuals. You guys must not invest for dividends. You must invest for growth. And for you to invest for growth, you must invest to get a seat in the decision making of those companies. Because you have the muscle. And you realize some of these companies, and especially those which have government association in them, they also need your brain to make them grow. Take Berkshire Hathaway. Their biggest money they have made is from where? And I'm still on innovation, guys. I'm still on innovation. Their money is in investing in companies. You know, they are the insurance company, I think, is the second or largest in America. That is their insurance company, not a passive investor. Their insurance company. Then they have hundreds of companies. When Warren Buffett meets his CEOs, he meets them like at this conference. Can you imagine all guys here? Every person is a CEO of a company. Let's say I'm Warren Buffett, I'm saying that. Now I'm speaking to you as CEOs of my companies, all of you. At a point where, how is my Ndindi doing? Not passive ownership. That is the level we have to go. Every person in Kenya managing money, for our capital markets to mature, we must stop this thing of investing passively and invest heavily. And investing heavily includes going to negotiate when you are investing. If, for example, you have 25 billion shillings you want to invest, and you want to invest in Equity Bank, don't go to the market. Why are you going to the market? When are you going to have 25 billion worth of shares buying from the market? Always the banks need money, always. You can rest assured. Just have tea with James Mwangi. I mean, some of you may combine forces and form a consortium. Go and have lunch with Mwangi. Tell him we have 25 billion here. We want to invest in your company. They'll create shares for you, and you'll pump in your money, and you'll get a board membership, and you become part of Equity Bank, including growth of it. Am I speaking? I'm an Yoge Swahili. If you look at Berkshire Hathaway, you'll never see they throw money there to chance. If you have the might, which you have in this room, stop kuja kwa market kusubua small shareholders like us. Go and talk to the companies themselves.